Good afternoon, Year 6, and welcome to Arithmetic. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we are going to be going through 20 questions of arithmetic today. And I really want you to try and use your paper or use your laptop to remember the methods that we have been looking at before Christmas. So there's a range of questions for you to do. If you need to, you can pause and really think about the methods we use for these different bits of arithmetic and take as long as you need. And then we're going to go through the answers. So there's 4 pages of questions, so you need to pause each time. There's 5 questions on each page. So here's the first set of questions for you to pause and have a go at. Here's the second page for questions 6 to 10. Here's questions 11 to 15. And finally, here's questions 16 to 20. So make sure you've paused so that you've got enough time to work out your answers. Okay, so I'm going to just show you all the answers now. So you can pause the screen here and you can mark your own work. If you've got an equivalent fraction, then obviously you can mark that as correct. And I've just seen for number 3, they've said 10 over 8 or 1, but that wouldn't be right. That would be 1 and 2/8 or 1 and a quarter. Oh, it's underneath, 1 and a quarter. Yes, it says that, or 1 and a quarter. So if you've got an equivalent fraction to that, you can mark that as correct as well. So pause the screen and you can mark your work. Okay, there's a few that I would like to go through with you. So I've just highlighted kind of 5 key questions that I think we should talk to together. So the first one we're going to talk through is adding decimals, where we need to make sure that the decimal stays in the same place for both numbers so that our place value stays really secure. So even if you put 3.7 first, which you can, because in addition it doesn't matter which number goes first, keep the decimal underneath exactly in the same place for 3.931, and then put your decimal straight in your answer so that we know we're not going to forget it. Placeholders can be used here. 0 add 1 is 1, 0 add 3 is 3, 7 add 9 is 16, 3 add 3 add the 1 is how we get the 7.631. Make sure you get that decimal lined up first thing. Okay, I'd now like to talk about this one because hopefully you thought about using mental methods rather than just using your method written down. Because if we covered both of those zeros, 4 times 8 is 32. And then all we have to look at is how many digits are after the decimal place. And we can see there that there are 2 digits after the decimal place, which means there needs to be 2 digits after a decimal place. And by putting the 0 in, you get your answer really quickly without having to do short multiplication. So I just wanted to talk through that one. Okay, one for inverse here. Something divided by 100 is 5. So if we use the inverse to go backwards, we would do 5 times 100, which is how you would get your 500 there. And then check, really think about it then. Right, is 500 divided by 100 5? Yes, it is. Okay, I want to talk about the percentage here. We know when we do percentage, we need to do our menu. And in our menu, we want to find 10% and 1%. Now, the times here just means exactly the same as of, 35% of 540. Let's do 10% first. Finding 10% of 540 is 54. We divide by 10. Finding 1%, we need to divide by 100. So 540 divided by 100 is 5.4. That's step 1. Now we need to decide how many of each we need. So let's look at the tens first. 35, there are 3 tens, which means I need 3 lots of 54. So down here, let's do 54 times 3. You might be able to do that in your head as well by using partitioning. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. Add the 1, 162. So then we need to do the ones column also. How many ones did we need? We needed 5. So let's stack this up carefully. Times 5. Put the decimal in. 5 times 4 is 20 with our regrouping. And 5 times 5 is 25. Add the 2 is 27. Now we need to be really careful when adding these together at the end. 162, let's put the 27. We can get rid of that decimal now. It's just 0.0. We don't need it, which means 27 would stack up here for our final adding. Adding those together, you're on to 189. Okay. The last three I want to look at on this page, fractions with different denominators. First thing you should have done was choose a common denominator, which I'm going to choose 40. There are others you could have chosen. Then we need to think about making these equivalent fractions. So from fifths to 40ths, it would be times by 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. And then for the second fraction, it was 8ths, and now it's 40ths, which is times by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Then you can add those together to give you your 29 over 40. Long multiplication. So here we need to really think about the layout of, let me do that one again. That went a bit funny, didn't it? As I was just saying, look at the layout. 35 here. Now we need to do a double line and put the placeholder straight in. Now we can get going. 5 times 2 is 10. Keep your regrouping nice and small. 5 times 3 is 15, add the 1 is 16. 5 times 4 is 20, add the 1 is 21. 5 times 5 is 25, add the 2 is 27. Now we've already got our placeholder, so when we move to the tens column, we've already got that there. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15, add the 1, 16. Now we need to add going down. 6 add 6 is 12. This is 11. 7 add the 2, add the 1 is 10. This is 9. And then we've got our 1 on the end there. And finally, just as a reminder, fraction times fraction. We times across the numerators, times across the denominators. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 5 is 15. Oops, I've gone over the 1. 2 15ths. Hopefully you've got all of those correct. If you did have any other questions about any of the ones I didn't go through particularly, write into the Teachers on Teams or on the Year 6 at the Palmer Academy email, and we'd be happy to talk through those with you. Really well done, guys. See you later.